Hello guys, my name is Professor Forrest and today I show you the best builds for Grave Jungle after the item changes. I wanted to test the builds and wait until we know more about the upcoming nerfs instead of just releasing the best items for this champion like many other channels did without proper testing. After enough testing and Riot posting the upcoming item nerfs next patch, let's start the video with the best Graves items in Season 14 Split 2 for the patch 14.11 in which they will nerf Collector and Infinity Edge as well. Before I talk about the items, I want to introduce myself to the new viewers. I'm a Graves main and pretty much one trick for the past couple of years who reached Masters. I love theory crafting and testing new builds to find the best build for my favorite champion, and usually that includes me chatting about builds with a couple of the best Graves players from NA and from the US server as well. I offer free jungle coaching for new members on my Discord server, so make sure to join because you have nothing to lose with it, and I'm planning to build an active community there. I offer paid coaching as well, and you can find more about that on my server or feel free to DM me. The Collector nerf will be a bigger hit for us since it's pretty much a must-have second item for us. The nerf will be free lethality, and you might think it's not that much, but it will affect your clear speed as well, not just your damage against champions. Infinity Edge will lose 10% clean damage, and I already bought this item like once every 10 games. So this will be a bigger nerf to AD carries, which was much needed. You might be wondering, but why am I not building Infinity Edge on Graves? I will explain every item choice I make, and after that you will understand why Infinity Edge isn't needed. So let's see the first and best item you can get on Graves, which won't be a surprise for anyone because this item is Yumu's Ghostblade. I have seen people running Collector, Infinity Edge or Eclipse as their first item on Graves, but trust me, those items are garbage, at least as first items. The only item you should ever buy as your first item if you aren't buying Yumu's Ghostblade is Opportunity. The question is how to decide which item to get when both have similar stats. Let's start with Opportunity, and this item is great when you are going for a more lethality oriented build, but I'm going to talk about that later, and it works in crit builds as well. So this item is excellent for picking off isolated targets and small skirmishes where you can reset your lethality bonus frequently. If you are ahead and can consistently get takedowns, the movement speed boost helps case down remaining enemies. And this is the downside of this item as well. If you can get ahead early and get takedowns on skirmishes, it's better to take Humus instead. Ghostblade on the other hand is ideal for faster rotations and map presence, and is useful for split pushing and repositioning. The active movement speed boost is crucial for initiating fights or escaping from dangerous situations. So in conclusion, go Opportunity first if you could get a few kills early and you're facing a squishy team where the burst is going to be useful. But if you are looking for a more consistent item or you are facing tanky opponents, buy Yumu's Ghostblade instead. Before I keep talking about the rest of the build, if you enjoyed this video and my content, please like the video, leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe. Let's talk about our secondary item. It doesn't matter if you are going for lethality or crit build, Collector second is a no-brainer choice. Riot changed the build path of this item and increased the price, which makes it a trash first item, especially after the upcoming nerfs. But as your secondary item, you don't have a better choice for Graves. The lethality and 60 AD are amazing to deal with squishy champions, and the 25% crit chance helps you scale really well. Your third item option is not that easy though, because you have a lot of good options. Let's start with the two most obvious ones, and you are going to buy one of these two items in 90% of your games as your third item. First is Mortal Reminder, and it's an obvious choice if you're facing a team with a lot of healing. If they are tanky and you need the armor pen but they don't have a lot of healing, then you will buy LDR. When it comes down to your situational items as your third option, you can buy Infinity Edge, Edge of Night, Black Cleaver, Shield Bow, Mav, Hubris, Opportunity, or even Serpent's Fang. In most cases, you are going to buy one of the three pen items as your third item because that's the most effective way to deal with the enemy characters, because how tanky everyone is in Season 14. So let's say you are looking to get some extra HP and you need the movement speed. And let's say your team already bought LDR and you want to support your team a bit because you are heavy AD against champions with high armor. Then what you can do instead of buying another LDR is buy buy Black Cleaver, which benefits you and your team more than having another LDR or Mortal Reminder. But what about the other items I mentioned? Well, if you're ahead and the enemy doesn't have a real threat, then you can go for the Infinity Edge as third. Since you are so ahead, you don't need the extra pen and you shred through the enemy anyway. You will buy Edge of Night whenever you are building Lethality Graves. You must be ahead and you need to stay safe against a threat like blocking Syndra stun. Same thing with Mav if you are facing double AP, usually AP jungler and AP mid. Mav is a lifesaver. Same thing when you need to survive burst damage, a shield bow is perfect for that. If the enemy team has a lot of shields, then the Serpent's Fang is a good option, and the other Lethality items like Hubris and Opportunity are self-explanatory. If you are really ahead, Hubris third is amazing and it can help you snowball even harder. For my fourth item, this is where I like to go more defensive, and my general build so far looks something like Humus, Collector, LDR, and then I like buying Mav, Shieldbow, BT or GA. The reason why I like to buy a defensive item as my fourth is because by that time I have enough damage to kill pretty much anyone, and I need more survivability than more damage. And this is why I said earlier that I'm usually never buying Infinity Edge, because I'm either going Lethality or by the time it makes sense to buy Infinity Edge, the game is probably so close that it's better for me to buy GA as my last item. I usually go GA or BT, it depends what my fourth item is. So before I move on to the runes and jungle pet choices, let me recap the ideal build you are going to run most of the time in Season 14. The first item you are going to run in 99% of your games is going to be Humus Ghostblade, and your second item should be Collector. For your third item, like I said, you have many options, but in general it's going to be LDR or Mortal Reminder. For your fourth item, you have Shieldbow, Mav or BT. Like I said, if you need to survive an AP burst, buy Mav. If you are scared of an AD threat, buy Shieldbow. If you just need more survivability, buy BT. Your last item is going to be BT if you haven't bought that as a fourth item, or GA. And that's when Infinity Edge is a good option as well. And this will be your best build in Season 14. One item I forgot to mention, which is a niche item, is going to be the rapid fire cannon. You are going to sell your boots for this item, and you should buy it whenever you're full build and only buy it with crit builds. Humus will provide enough movement speed with this item to make up for the movement speed loss without boots. I don't recommend buying Phantom Dancer, but rapid fire is a good option if you are in need of that extra range. Now before runes and jungle pets, let's talk about Lethality Graves as well, because that one works, but since it's more situational, I would rate that build only A tier compared to the previous one, which is clearly S tier. So whenever I'm going Lethality Graves, I'm expecting myself to snowball and I'm facing squishy enemy teams. That's why my first item is going to be Opportunity instead of Humus. My second item, just like in the previous build, is going to be Collector. My third item is going to be Black Cleaver, usually with this setup, and you might wonder why. Well, like I previously said, your third item usually must be a percentage pen item. It provides every stat Graves needs, and I find this one a better option than Serilla's Grudge. Of course, if you need Edge of Night, that works, or if you need Mav sooner, then go for those items. Then your fourth item should be Black Cleaver. Unless you snowball really hard, then Hubris can be a great alternative. But usually I find Black Cleaver to be the best third item, and I'm fine sitting on Hex Drinker until later when my core build is done. So my fourth item is generally when I finish my Mav or Edge of Night, or if I'm super ahead and I'm not scared of being one-shot by someone from the enemy team, I'm buying Hubris to get an even bigger lead. For the last item, you want GA or BT, but if you decide to buy Hubris and you need Mav, then your last item can be Mav as well. Just to recap this one as well, and I swear that I'm going to talk about runes, but I wanted to make this a video in depth because I haven't updated Graves builds in a while and I wanted to give a deep explanation about Graves builds. The first item you want with Lethality Graves is going to be Opportunity and Collector as your second item. Usually your third item is going to be Black Cleaver unless you are super ahead, and you can skip the percentage pen for another Lethality item like Hubris or Edge of Night. The fourth item should be your Edge of Night, Mav or Hubris depending on what you need. The last item should be BT or GA. Now finally let's talk about Graves runes, and there is not much to say because in Season 14 Split 2 the only good primary rune page you should run is going to be Precision. Read footwork remains the best route to take for Graves even after the nerfs. Absurd Life could work for lane Graves, but we are talking about the jungle only, and Triumph is the best. Legend Electricity is another easy choice and the best rune you can take on Graves. For the last row, the choice is harder. If you're going Lethality against squishy teams, just take Coup de Grace, but if you're going Crit and facing more tanky champions, you should take the new Cutdown. But after the upcoming Cutdown buffs, I'm not convinced about not being better against pretty much any team comp over Coup de Grace. Either way, if you follow this rule mentioned earlier, you should be fine and it won't make too much of a difference. Let's talk about secondary runes, and I know I will surprise some people because the 2 new runes in the inspiration tree sounds exciting, but I'm usually not taking any of the new runes and I'm not even using the inspiration tree. Instead, I'm taking Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter from the Domination tree. Let me explain my thought process. I decided to change Sudden Impact and now it deals bonus true damage from 20 up to 80 based on level. That extra 20 true damage early on is even better than the old Lethality stat. True damage is useful throughout the whole game. Graves doesn't have that much damage early on, so any extra damage has great value for him. Then we are taking Treasure Hunter because it will provide 450 gold after getting takedowns on all 5 enemy champions. This secondary rune page is perfect for early snowball and Graves only struggles in the early game. Once he reaches his 2 to 3 item spike, he becomes a massive threat and for that he needs a lot of gold. But let's talk about inspiration as well for a second, because don't get me wrong, the inspiration tree is still great and it's not like the domination tree, it's significantly better than inspiration. Since if you decide to run items with cooldown like Humus, Mav, or Shield Bow and buy GA in the late game, that's 3 items that benefit from item haste, in which case running Inspiration second is more valuable and your secondary page will be 3 bows and Cosmic Insight. So if you're running BT over Mav or Shield Bow and planning to buy IE because you think you won't need GA against that team comp, then Domination tree is better. If you will have 3 items with cooldown in your build, then take inspiration tree. Either way, both secondary rune pages are amazing, so as long as you take any of these runes, you are good to go and it won't make a huge difference. And let's talk about the new rune cashback. I think that's a marksman rune page and it's way better for AD carries than junglers. And Graves isn't an exception to that, even though he usually buys crit items. The Jack of all trades rune is an interesting one, but I don't find it good enough on Graves, to be honest. Having item haste since we are running Gumus and having my summoner spell up faster, especially Smite, is more valuable than the extra stats that rune provides. For your shards, take attack speed, adaptive force, and scaling health. For your jungle path, I'm only using blue or red, and I'm most of the time taking blue. The extra movement speed is really important for junglers, so you can take blue every game. The only time I'm taking red smite instead is whenever I feel like the extra burst is going to be more useful. So if you're going lethality or think you need burst damage, take red smite. When you don't think extra burst is needed and you go crit build, take the blue path. Either way, as long as you are not taking the green path, you are good to go. This was my updated best Graves builds video. I hope you found it helpful, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and leave any questions down in the comments and join my Discord server to get free jungle coaching.